Josh Newberg and I back at the desk. I guess National Signing Day, baby.
It feels great to be back at the desk.
Recruiting kind of picking up a little bit
Without
more,
a
gaining
doubt.
some traction. 2024 is signed, sealed, delivered. Some of those guys already on campus from spring games from this past weekend. What do you say we talk a little bit about the quarterback dominoes, Josh, for 2025? Matt Zollers starting us off hot. Is he going to Georgia? No, goes to Missouri, and the dominoes are in full effect now. What did that set off?
Yeah, dominoes are falling. And like you said, the guys that we're talking about right now will be on campus participating in spring ball next year at this time. You talked about Matt Zollers. Matt Zollers out of Pennsylvania, top 10 quarterback on the On3 industry rankings, picked Missouri, and that kind of got the dominoes falling because Mizzou maybe wasn't supposed to land Matt Zollers. I think most experts expected it to be Georgia when they started turning up the heat. Penn State also involved there, but he picks Missouri, which means Georgia now needs a quarterback. Georgia goes out and lands Ryan Montgomery yesterday. You guys probably heard all about this. Georgia gets their guy in Ryan Montgomery out of Findlay, Ohio, but they really only started turning the heat up for him about 3 weeks ago. So that meant UF in South Carolina, who had been recruiting Ryan Montgomery for the better part of 6 to 8 months, it thought it was going to come down to either one of those teams. Now both of those teams are now searching for another quarterback. Now the dominoes just keep on falling because Keelan Russell, who's committed to SMU early, his recruitment's heating up. The Gators want to flip him. So there you go. That's how the dominoes kind of build on themselves.
Things are moving and shaking and evolving, and we still got a long way to go till that first signing period. And I think for Georgia fans, the question mark that remains is, okay, are we all done at quarterback? Because Julian Lewis, he's committed to USC. He's committed but also taking visits, and so nobody's like projecting I'm not projecting a flip at this point. I mean, I'm going to get more information, obviously, and see how this thing trends. Right. But for a Georgia fan, is it a thing where they're set now with Ryan Montgomery, or is it like, okay, we got one in the hand, let's go out and grab one more quarterback in Julian Lewis? Are they still pushing to land him, you think?
So I think USC fans can kind of take a little breather of relief with Ryan Montgomery going to Georgia. Yes, I talked to Rusty Mansell of Dogs HQ. He fully believes that they're only going to take one. They already have Jared Curtis, the number 3 quarterback in the 2026 class, committed. So they're locked in with 2 quarterbacks for the next 2 years in recruiting. I do not expect them to continue to pursue Juju Lewis, but that means Auburn, Colorado, they start feeling a little bit better about their position in the Julian Lewis sweepstakes. And, USC, like I said, they have to feel better because their probably main competition heading into this week was Georgia. Now Juju Lewis was back on campus at USC. I'm feeling good, at least of where he stands right now. But Lewis is planning to take official visits. His last official visit in June is going to be to Colorado. I would watch them. I would watch Auburn at this point. But USC still standing firm with where they are with Julian Lewis's commitment.
Well, you mentioned a couple of schools there, Auburn, Colorado. Let's say that Julian Lewis sticks with USC. The Dogs obviously are a little bit further out of this thing, like we just talked about a second ago. Who needs a quarterback the most? Like, let's say he sticks with USC. Where does that leave Auburn? Where does that leave a school like Colorado? Florida,
right.
South Carolina, you mentioned, like,
what's
going
needs
on
a
here?
quarterback. Lane Kiffin is out there hunting for a quarterback. South Carolina, like we said. Texas, they got Keelan Russell, who Florida is also recruiting. Keelan Russell, he's an interesting name. Right now, he's sitting at number 10. I believe he's having a great offseason. I could see him moving up within that top 10, maybe as high as 6, 7 in the quarterback rankings. But he committed to SMU early. Texas has him on campus this weekend for their spring game. They have KJ Lacey committed to them as well. KJ Lacey talking a little bit with Auburn, talking a little bit with Alabama. KJ Lacey maybe Ole Miss, you could see him hunting. But Keelan Russell is one of those names that grabbed a spot early at SMU, and his recruitment now is blowing up. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a lot of value in him, especially as these QB dominoes kind of fall, and we see teams like Auburn, like UF, like South Carolina still out there searching. So, yeah, the spatula's out, as Steve Wiltfong would say. I mean, Ole Miss, they got Deuce Knight right there, the number 4 ranked quarterback in America, committed to Notre Dame, is right there in the state of Mississippi. Mm-hmm. Ole Miss needs a quarterback. They're going to be recruiting Deuce Knight all the way to the end. I mean, the dominoes, even the ones that we think are set, are not set.
And we've seen, too, with Notre Dame, going back to Deuce Knight, you get those early commitments when the weather's nice in South Bend and, you're getting some spring vibes out there, and then it gets a little bit colder, as it does in a place like Indiana, and it's a little bit more difficult to hang on to those recruits just based on what we've seen over the course of the last couple of cycles. Now, I want to flip that alternate reality on its head. Let's say Julian Lewis flips to somewhere else. Who needs him the most in your mind?
Colorado with everything that's going on, with Coach Prime's ability to often go out and snipe a 5-star here or there. I mean, landing the number 2 quarterback in America, flipping him from USC. With Shedeur Sanders leaving, there's a clear pathway. I'm not saying Julian Lewis is going to start as a freshman, but if you want to compete for the starting job at any of the schools he's looking at, I think Colorado probably has the easiest path to playing time with Shedeur leaving. But, Auburn, think about what they signed at wide receiver last year and coupling that with Julian Lewis. I mean, your future on offense is virtually set. So I think it would be big for anybody that lands him, but specifically Auburn and Colorado.
I can already hear the comment section right now, Josh, saying, you guys always talk about Juju flipping. He's sticking with USC. Stop putting that on us. Stop predicting that. We're not predicting it. We're exploring the alternate realities of the Dominoes. And here's the thing, too, Josh. If Julian Lewis, for whatever reason, does end up inking with a school that's not USC, we talked about this another time off the air, Lincoln Riley's okay. Lincoln Riley's going to get a quarterback. Husan Longstreet is committed to Texas A&M. What was his impact on the Dominoes when he ended up giving a verbal to the Aggies in that Hayes Fawcett graphic drop?
Yeah, again, Husan Longstreet commits to the Aggies. Who does that impact? It impacts Oregon. So now what do I think Oregon's going to do? I think they're going to go after Bear Bachmeier, who's committed to Stanford, and flip him. He's the number 16 rated quarterback. Oregon already has Achilles Smith Jr. A lot of people know that name. They're good with Achilles Smith. I don't think anything's changing there. Oregon just wants 2 in this cycle. So look for them, because they missed out on Husan Longstreet, to go flip Bear Bachmeier from Stanford. Now, we got to see if that happens. But Husan Longstreet also, I thought, at one point could very well have ended up at Auburn. If he ends up at Auburn, then that takes them out of the Julian Lewis sweepstakes and kind of makes them no longer a factor for him. So all these things kind of add up, and you see where they end up falling. It wasn't exactly how I expected it to go, but I can still see if this happens, then that happens. If that happens, then this happens.
It's like the most complex math equation, and we're just kind of pulling the different levers and seeing what would happen if this domino falls and that domino falls. Josh, we've explored a lot of things. Any other dominoes that you think are relevant to what we're talking about right now in this 2025 class at the quarterback position?
Well, I'd keep an eye on Deuce Knight, like I said, because Notre Dame doesn't like their commitments to take visits. To this point, Deuce Knight has not taken a visit, but he has gone on record a couple times and said that he talks to programs like Ole Miss, Alabama, every day. Now, if you're talking to somebody every day, at some point, you're going to agree to go on their campus and talk to them face-to-face. So we got to see what happens there. I think Antoine Hill out of the state of Georgia, could he become a factor with Florida or South Carolina, because now they both need a quarterback? And if Keelan Russell is going to stay in state, remember, he's at Duncanville High School. There's an incentive there, not just to get a great quarterback, but his teammate is DeCorian Moore, the number 1 wide receiver in America. And right now, Texas is also trying to flip him. So Keelan Russell coming off the board to Texas really hurts a program like a Florida who doesn't have a quarterback. Now Texas potentially has 2 quarterbacks. So
a little 2-for-1 action.
A little 2-for-1. And then we also, hey, these guys haven't even played their senior year yet. So maybe some of these coaches are saying, hey, I just want to hold off right now. Hey, we didn't get our first or second tier quarterback on the board, but hey, maybe somebody really emerges in their senior year and we pounce on him. So there's a lot in play. And like you said, to me, it resembles almost a game of musical chairs.
Yeah.
In the end, who has a seat and who doesn't.
100%, man. That music's still playing for right now, but we're getting closer and closer. The volume's not turning down just yet, but we know when it comes time for December, got to have a chair.
Yeah.
Josh, at some point in the near future, we got a whiteboard that's off camera right now in our studio. Feels appropriate to maybe chalk
We're
it
going
up
to drag
at
it
some
in.
point.
We're going to drag it in. I'm going to do my thing up on the whiteboard, and it'll all make 0 sense.
Phenomenal. I can't wait. Josh Newberg, best in the business, the engine behind the On3 Recruits channel, Inside Scoop, dropping multiple times a week. Josh, I think we got some more action on the horizon in 2025, so we'll do this again soon.
Definitely.